A traveler breaks their leg skiing in Switzerland. The hospital bill comes out to around $32,000. Because the injury requires specialized care back home, doctors arrange a medical evacuation flight to the United States. That evacuation alone costs over $75,000. The traveler's travel insurance policy costs about $80 for the entire trip. So in that case, travel insurance was clearly worth it. But here's the thing. Not every trip involves that kind of risk. And plenty of travelers buy travel insurance and never use it at all. That's why deciding whether travel insurance is actually worth it can be confusing. Some travelers purchase it every time they leave home. Others skip it entirely and never run into a problem. The reality is that the answer isn't always simple. Whether travel insurance makes sense usually depends on the type of trip you're taking, how much money is at risk, and what kinds of disruptions could realistically affect your plans. So in this video, we're going to walk through real travel scenarios that can change the answer to the travel insurance question. We'll look at situations where travel insurance might make sense, situations where it might not be necessary, and how many travelers decide whether the coverage is worth purchasing. What's going on, everyone? I'm Eric Hunsaker from Insurance Wise, and on this channel, we break down insurance topics in a way that's easy to understand so you know how coverage works before you ever need to rely on it. Why this question matters more today. Travel planning has changed quite a bit over the past few years. Trips are often planned months in advance. Flights are booked early. Hotels, tours, cruises, and excursions may require deposits or full payment long before the trip actually begins. And in many cases, those reservations involve prepaid costs that may be partially refundable or completely non-refundable. As travelers start adding up these costs, they often realize how much money they've already committed to the trip. That's when the travel insurance question usually comes up. But the decision isn't just about the price of the trip. It's also about understanding the types of risks that could realistically affect your travel plans. So let's walk through some of the scenarios that tend to influence that decision. Scenario 1, expensive international trips. One situation where travel insurance often becomes more relevant is when travelers are planning an expensive international trip. International travel can involve several major expenses. Flights alone may cost hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Hotels or vacation rentals may require deposits or full payment ahead of time. Travelers might also prepay for tours, excursions, transportation, or cruise packages. Once everything is booked, the total investment in the trip can easily reach several $1,000s. If something unexpected happens before the trip, such as an illness, injury, or family emergency, those prepaid expenses may not always be refundable. This is where trip cancellation coverage can become relevant. Many travel insurance policies include benefits that reimburse certain prepaid expenses if the trip must be canceled for a covered reason. For travelers making a large financial investment in a trip, travel insurance is often about protecting that investment rather than expecting something to go wrong. Scenario 2, traveling outside your home country. So another situation where travel insurance becomes more relevant is when someone is traveling internationally. Many people assume their regular health insurance will automatically cover them abroad. But for travelers in the United States, that's often not the case. Most U.S. health insurance plans provide limited or no international coverage, and Medicare typically does not cover medical care outside the United States at all. If a traveler becomes sick or injured overseas, they may need to pay for medical treatment out of pocket. Healthcare costs can vary widely depending on the country and the type of care required. So because of this, many travel insurance policies include emergency medical coverage designed specifically for travelers. This coverage can help pay for medical treatment received during a trip. For travelers leaving their home country, this type of coverage is one of the main reasons they consider travel insurance. Scenario 3. Medical evacuations. Medical evacuation is another situation that travelers often overlook when planning a trip. If someone becomes seriously ill or injured in a remote area or a country with limited medical facilities, doctors may recommend transferring them to another hospital or even transporting them back to their home country. These evacuations can be extremely expensive. Medical evacuation flights can range from $25,000 to $50,000 for regional evacuations, $100,000 or more for international evacuations. In some long-distance cases, costs can exceed $200,000. Travel insurance policies that include emergency evacuation coverage can help cover these expenses if evacuation becomes medically necessary. Even though situations like this are rare, the potential financial impact is one of the reasons travelers consider travel insurance when planning international trips or visiting remote destinations. Scenario 4, flights and travel disruptions. So travel disruptions are another factor that travelers often consider. Air travel involves many moving parts, and delays or cancellations can happen for a variety of reasons. Flights might be delayed due to weather, mechanical issues, airport congestion, or airline scheduling problems. Sometimes a delay simply means arriving at your destination later than expected. Other times it can cause misconnections, additional hotel stays, or unexpected travel expenses. Many travel insurance policies include coverage related to certain travel disruptions. Depending on the policy, this may include benefits such as trip delay coverage, missed connection coverage, and trip interruption coverage. These benefits may help reimburse certain expenses if travel disruptions affect the itinerary. For travelers with complicated schedules or tight connections, this can be another factor that influences the decision to purchase travel insurance. Scenario 5, cruises and tour packages. Cruises and organized tour packages are another example where travelers often consider insurance. Many cruises and guided tours require payment months in advance, and once certain deadlines pass, those payments may become non-refundable. If a traveler needs to cancel after that deadline, recovering those costs may be difficult. So because of that, many cruise passengers purchase travel insurance when booking their trip. In these cases, insurance is usually about protecting the cost of the trip itself, rather than expecting something will go wrong. Scenario 6, weather and natural disruptions. Weather is another factor that can disrupt travel plans. Severe weather events such as hurricanes, snowstorms, or flooding can sometimes cause airline cancellations, cruise itinerary changes, or travel delays. However, it's important to understand how travel insurance typically handles weather events. In many policies, coverage only applies if the weather event directly causes a covered disruption, such as a canceled flight or mandatory evacuation. Travel insurance generally does not cover weather events that are already known before the policy is purchased. For example, if a hurricane has already been named before someone buys insurance, that storm may not be covered. Because of this, travelers heading to destinations during hurricane season or winter storm seasons sometimes consider insurance as a precaution. Another factor, your credit card may already offer coverage. One factor that many travelers overlook is that some travel credit cards already include certain types of travel protection. Premium travel cards sometimes provide benefits such as trip delay coverage, trip cancellation coverage, baggage delay protection, and rental car coverage. However, these benefits often have lower coverage limits than dedicated travel insurance policies, and many credit card protections do not include medical coverage or medical evacuation benefits. For that reason, some travelers rely on credit card coverage for basic protection, while others choose to purchase a separate travel insurance policy. Optional coverage. Cancel for any reason. Some travel insurance policies also offer an optional upgrade known as cancel for any reason, often called CFAR coverage. This option allows travelers to cancel their trip for reasons that may not normally be covered by standard trip cancellation benefits. However, CFAR coverage usually reimburses only a portion of the trip cost, often around 50 to 75%, and it typically must be purchased within a certain time window after booking the trip. While it adds flexibility, this upgrade also increases the overall cost of the policy, when travel insurance might not be necessary. Now, of course, travel insurance isn't always necessary. There are plenty of situations where travelers decide the extra coverage isn't worth the additional cost. For example, if someone is taking a short domestic trip and most reservations are refundable, the financial risk may be relatively small. Another example is when flights are purchased using points or miles and can easily be changed or canceled. If a traveler would only lose a small amount of money if something went wrong, they may feel comfortable skipping insurance. That's why the decision often depends on evaluating the actual financial risk involved in a specific trip. How travelers decide if travel insurance is worth it. So one practical way that travelers approach this decision is by asking a simple question. If something went wrong, how much money could I lose? For example, imagine someone planning a weekend trip where the flight costs a couple $100 and the hotel reservation can be canceled up until the day before arrival. In that situation, the financial risk might be fairly small, but the situation looks very different for a large international trip. If someone has already paid for flights, hotels, tours, and excursions, the total cost of the trip could easily reach several $1,000s. If they had to cancel unexpectedly, those costs may not always be refundable. That's why some travelers think of travel insurance as a way to protect the total investment in the trip, rather than just viewing it as another travel expense. Another factor people consider is their personal comfort level with risk. Some travelers are comfortable taking the chance that everything will go smoothly. Others prefer having a backup plan in case something unexpected disrupts their trip. Neither approach is necessarily right or wrong. Comparing travel insurance plans. For travelers who decide to explore travel insurance options, it's common to compare several policies before choosing one. Comparison platforms allow travelers to review multiple providers and coverage options side by side. You may see providers such as Alliance, Travel Guard, IMG, Fay, or Seven Corners listed with different coverage limits and pricing depending on the trip details. Comparing plans can help travelers understand how policies differ and what types of coverage may be available. Another one that we recommend is visitors coverage. You can go ahead and just click on the link down in the description to get started with visitors coverage and choose between travel medical quotes or get trip cost quotes. We'll go ahead and click on the Get Trip Cost Quotes button here. We'll go ahead and select our destination. Maybe we're traveling to the Bahamas, and we'll go ahead and click Continue. Our residence country is the United States and California. One traveler, 31 years old. Total trip costs, $3,000. Trip deposit date. We'll go and just select today and click Continue. When do we need coverage? Maybe we're going sometime in the summer for 2 weeks. And we'll go ahead and click on Get Quotes. So here again, we can go ahead and just filter through some different plans. So again, here we go. We've got 8 different plans found suitable for this trip. Again, this is 15 days for a total of $3,000. And the first one we see here is $104. Now, if you want to go ahead and compare one, you can go ahead and select one here. And I think you can select up to 3 total plans to compare. So this one is almost twice as much. So it might be interesting to see how they compare. And we'll go ahead and just select this third one as well, which is priced somewhere in the middle. Now, when we go ahead and click on compare, we're going to be looking at everything line by line to see what the difference is. Again, we've got the cheapest option of these 3 at $104, the next one at $196, and the next one at $120. As you can see, at least these first 4 lines, everything is exactly the same, but there's obviously some differences. So to make it super easy, you just go ahead and toggle this highlight differences on. And as you can see, it'll start to show the differences here. We can go ahead and look on the medical emergency. We can go ahead and see the differences here as well. So again, if you want to get started with visitors coverage, we've got that link for you down in the description. We also have another list that we recommend if you want to go somewhere outside of visitors coverage. So go ahead and click on that down below in the description to see the best travel insurance companies that we recommend. The real answer. So is travel insurance worth it? The answer is, it depends. For travelers who are investing a significant amount of money in a trip, traveling internationally, or booking non-refundable reservations, travel insurance may provide meaningful financial protection against unexpected disruptions. For shorter trips with flexible bookings, some travelers may decide they don't need it. The key is understanding your specific situation and deciding whether the potential risks justify the costs of coverage. Travel insurance isn't something every traveler needs every time they travel, but for certain trips, it can provide an additional layer of protection that many travelers find valuable. So if you want to compare travel insurance plans for your own trip, you can use our travel insurance link in the description below to explore coverage options and see how different policies compare based on your destination, travel dates, and number of travelers. And if you want to learn more about how insurance works before you ever need it, then make sure you're subscribed because we break down insurance topics just like this regularly here on the channel. I'm Eric from Insurance Wise. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.